So I'm really glad to see so many people here. I thought with the overlap of Mark's class that it might have a bit of a clash, and so I wasn't sure whether I was going to turn up here and be on my own or what. So it's lovely to see you all here, and thanks very much for joining me. I hope you are enjoying whatever you have taken part in already. We have busted our butts for the last fortnight to come up with something that's going to be good fun for everybody. So without further ado, we are going to look at finger picking, and just to give you an idea of where I started with finger picking, I mean, I was completely winging it. I wanted to play a song that was in waltz timing, so I think it's 3/4 as I understand it, but I'm not theoretical about music. I don't know it. I've only just took my second bass lesson, and that's the second music lesson I've ever had in my life. So I'm very much talking to you from the perspective of you're holding this instrument and you're not quite sure how to progress in it. Okay, so the song I'm going to play is a wee bit of a song here now, and this is the song that I first started finger picking with. So it's natural. Is it Natural Woman? Oh my god, I might start playing it and see. So okay, so that was a very basic way for me to be able to make waltz timing accessible, because I couldn't strum it. I couldn't for the life of me get the rhythm of strumming it while being able to sing. And I quite like to sing when I'm playing, and so for me that was a big thing. And I just started watching YouTube videos, and I found that basically for as many different searches as I did, there was more and more and more resources on how to do it. And so it came down to just trying a bit of everything and seeing where I ended up with it. So this is going to be very much an interactive session, or as in a play along. So what I've done is I've made a list of songs that we're going to go over, and I've made a list of different picking techniques that I would use if I was playing these songs. Okay, so the first one that we're going to first one that we're going to look at is the Wild Rover. So I'm going to share my screen here. I'm going to put the Wild Rover up, and then I'm going to play it slowly so that you can play along. But the first thing we're going to do is look at that strumming pattern that I was just doing there. Okay, so what I was doing, if you know anything about what you call these parts of the uke, this is your top string. So what I was doing there was using my middle finger on the top string and my thumb on the third string. So there's a string between each of my digits on the strings, okay? So I pluck them both together first. Then I use my index finger and my thumb on the two strings that weren't being plucked. Okay? So middle finger on the first, thumb on the third, and then index finger on the second and thumb on the fourth. And so to turn that into a waltz, I was doing pluck the first one once, and then pluck the other two twice. So that's your 3. 1, 2, 3. Yeah? So just want you to have a wee go at that. Familiarize yourself with that pattern. So just, we're not playing any chords yet. You can mute it if you like, but all you're doing is with, yeah. All right. So you just go ahead and practice that while I get this next song up. So it's these two, middle finger on the first and thumb on the third, and then these two, first finger, index finger on the second and thumb on the fourth. So it's this kind of movement here. All right. So is that making sense to everyone so far? Yep, super. Let me just see if I can move this over a wee bit. Lovely, lovely. Okay, Wild Rover. So we'll play the intro nice and slow to make sure we're all on the same page, and then we'll see where we can go from there. But when you start adding chords, it can be tricky enough to remember where you were with these fingers, okay? So don't be too hard on yourself to begin with. You know, you're literally training the muscles in your hands to be able to do it on autopilot, which is going to take a certain amount of time, all right? So we're starting off on the C chord. We're just going to do that one round of that. So it's 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2. Go ahead and do that with me. 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2 on your C. 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2. Move your left hand to the G7 and let's do it again. So 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2. Okay. So go ahead and give me a thumbs up if you're with me, or a thumbs down if you're really not on board with this. Okay. So we have one thumbs. You with us, Ronnie? Yes? Okay. Super. Super duper. Lovely. So let's get back to the screen share. So we're going to do that. We'll just play the intro, those 4 chords, and we'll see if we can do it together. So starting with the C, you're just going to do one round of that. So it's 1, 2, 3, then over to the G7, 1, 2, 3, then back to the C and do it twice. So when you're ready, Lennon, here we go. 1, 2, 3, and 1, G7, back to C. So let's do that again. We'll do it a wee bit slower, okay? So it's, I'll count you in with the 1, 2, 3 first. So it's 1, 2, 3. 1, G7, 2, C. And again. All right. So just keep trying that wee set of 4 chords yourselves. Just have a wee run through that and see how you're getting it. Okay. Anybody really not getting it? Miriam, can I unmute you? Are you not getting it, Miriam?
No, not getting it.
So what bit are you struggling with? Can you show me? Or
yeah, up here. Well, I probably the whole lot then, I suppose, when I think about it.
Yeah, just yeah, you
Okay.
play out what you're doing, or
No.
yes. Tilt your camera down a wee touch and let me see.
That is?
That's, yeah, that sounds like the right rhythm, yeah. And so sometimes it's just about getting the notes clean. So it's just about where you've got your hands on the.
Okay, yeah.
And sometimes I found with finger picking right at the start, I was setting the palm of my hand on the strings. So I was actually the strings as I was plucking them, okay? So you want your fingertips to be making the sound, and you want the palm of your hand to be floating above the strings.
I think I have it now.
Lovely.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, welcome.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Lovely. All right. So what I want to do is we're going to play through this song. I'm going to play it as slowly as I can remember to do. Because the thing about finger picking is once your muscle memory is established, you can kind of get carried away. And so once you learn to finger pick, then you end up having to learn to slow down. So I'm going to play through this song. I want you to play along with me. But anywhere that you get lost, just go and find the next chord and start that wee cycle again, that 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And if you get lost, just find the next chord and start again. Because the difficulty is, if you're practicing this on your own at home, you're not going to persist in the same way as you do in a lesson, okay? So just take it as a lesson, pick up where you fell off and get started again. And we'll regroup at the end of this song and see where we're at, okay? So here we go. 1, 2, 3, and G7 and C. Here we go. I'll sing, you don't have to. I've been a wild rover for many's a year, and I spent all my money on whiskey and beer. But now I'm returning with gold in great store, and I promise to play the wild rover no more. And it's no, nay, never. See, no, nay, never, no more. And I play the wild rover, no, never, no more. Stay on the silly second, here we go. I went to any of my I used to frequent, and I told the landlady me money's all spent. I asked her for credit, she answered me nay. Sure, a custom like yours I could get any day. It's no, nay, never. No, nay, never, no more. Well, I play the wild rover. No, never, no more. Here we go. I took from my pocket 10 sovereigns bright, and the landlady's eyes opened wide with delight. She said, I have whiskies and wines of the best, and the words that I told you were only in jest, and it's no, nay, never. No, nay, never, no more. Well, I play the wild rover. No, never, no more. Lovely. Here we go. I go home to my parents, confess what I've done, and I'll ask them to pardon their prodigal son. And if they forgive me as oft times before, well, I promise to play the wild rover no more. No, nay, never. No, nay, never, no more. Well, I play the wild rover. No, never, no more. So I'm just going to check the chat here. Oh, sorry. Thanks everybody for catching them up in the chat there. Okay, so go ahead and stick your hand up if you really struggled with that and you want to have a chat about it. Okay. Jay Hill, what's your name?
John.
John, what about you?
Yeah, what about me is right. My right hand doesn't know what to do. It's got a mind of its own.
Yeah.
Okay, so your screen is just a little bit high for me.
Okay.
I can't see your right hand.
Okay.
If you drop it down a bit.
Sure can.
Yeah.
I'll just take this bit off.
If you can just tell me what way the strings are, what's the rhythm to the strings?
So, come up right and close. So, we're actually going to do another song with that same rhythm, okay? So, it's the first string, so the one closest to the floor, and the thumb on the third string at the same time. So that's your first notes together.
Okay, two together.
Yeah, two together, exactly, yes. Now, this is just one variation of, so I'm going to actually show you 1, 2, 3 different plucking rhythms that I use, and that'll maybe hopefully give you ideas of what else you can do. So I'm using my middle finger to pluck that first string. And the reason I do that is I use my thumb on the two closest to my face, and I use my index finger for the second string, and I use my middle finger for the third string. And actually what that does is it teaches my hand how to move efficiently so that I know exactly what strings I'm looking for. So it's first finger and the thumb on the third, pluck together. Then you're switching to index finger on the second and thumb on the fourth and plucking together.
Okay.
Okay, so it's is that better?
Yeah.
Now, like everything else that you learn as a new skill, it is totally like patting your head and rubbing your belly. It is so frustrating sometimes because you're just like, I own these digits. Why won't they do what I'm asking them to? So that's okay. It's going to be a wee bit of a faff for a while. But look, just get into the habit of not beating yourself up whenever you stumble over something and just get started again. Okay?
Yes, there's no
How
problem.
are you finding it?
That's grand, yeah.
Much better. Good stuff. Anybody else? I'm just going to switch over to the other screen here so I can see. Anyone else struggling? Really, really struggling? We've all got thumbs up. Lovely. Great to see you guys. I'll stay on this screen for a wee second then. Okay, so we're going to do the same exercise again, but we're going to use a different song. And the song this time is Delilah. Hope you like my song choices. So this is another one in waltz timing. I'm not sure if Natural Woman is in waltz timing, but I wanted to sing it that way, so that's what I went for. And that's what's really lovely about this is, see, once you get a handle on this, you can totally just, you know, bend it to be whatever you want it to be. There's no right or wrong way to do this because, like, this wasn't a strumming pattern that I learned from someone. This was just something I came up with because it suited me. All right. Move that over. I'm assuming you guys are okay for chords. So like, maybe I'll move this over actually. Maybe that's silly. There we go. Now you can see the chord shapes too. Super duper. Okay, so same one again, same pattern again. And we're going for Delilah. If you're just joining us, I'll show you very quickly. It's the first string with your middle finger, plucking at the same time as the third string with your thumb. So this. And then we're moving to index finger on the second string and thumb on the fourth and doing that twice. So we're doing a waltz rhythm. We're going 1, 2, 3. Okay. So we're on Delilah. It's just a play along. You guys, where you make your mistakes, just carry on. I always say to my youth groups, there's no homework and there's no prizes. So you just suit yourself. All right. We'll not worry about the intro. We'll just go straight in. And again, we'll do it a wee bit slower. I'm expecting that slower is better. So here we go. So we're starting on A minor. 1, 2, 3, and I saw the light on the night that I passed by her window. Ba-da-da-da. I saw the flickering shadows of love on her blind. She was my woman as she deceived. Oh my goodness. Watched her went out of my mind. I was watching you guys instead. My Delilah. Why, Delilah? I could see that girl was no good for me, but I was lost like a slave that Is that too fast? Too slow? Good? Doing all right? Super. Still want to be leaving anybody behind, but that's cool. If that's okay for you, then just keep going. Sorry, I'll just take this out here. Okay. No one could freeze. So A minor. We're back to here. All right. 1, 2, 3, and at break of day when the man drove away, I was waiting. Ba-da-da-da. I crossed the street to her house and she opened the door. She stood there laughing. I felt the knife in my hand and she laughed no more. My Delilah. Why, Delilah? So before they come to break down the door, forgive me, Delilah, I just couldn't take anymore. So hopefully you're starting to see how even just finishing on that, you know, picking 2 strings and letting that ring out is just a lovely effect. I'm going to move this down a wee bit more so you can see it. So let's do the intro here, the A, E7 intro, or the, what is it, middle 8, and then we'll finish it. So 1, 2, 3, and E7. A minor. E7. Here we go. She stood there laughing. I felt the knife in my hand and she laughed no more. My Delilah. Why, Delilah? So before they come to break down the door, forgive me, Delilah, I just couldn't take anymore. Forgive me, Delilah, I just couldn't take anymore. All right, so let's turn that off. Okay, so I'm just going to unmute everybody for a wee second here. How did you find that? Too fast, too slow?
Oh, perfect.
That's good.
It got better towards the end.
Yeah.
You got better towards the end, or I did?
No, I did.
Yeah, exactly. And so look, that's exactly what I'm talking about. Is, you know, it's very easy to start it and get very disheartened in the first sort of like 30 seconds or whatever, and just be like, oh, who even owns these hands? But you know, if you just persevere, like it is surprising how quickly you can pick it up. You know, it's in minutes. You pick it up in minutes, and so Some of you will really have surprised yourselves there because you'll have been able to hum along at the same time, or you maybe found that you're just a bit more dexterous than you were giving yourself credit for. And some of you will have just been like, this is alien. I don't know how I'm ever going to get my big sausage fingers in between these strings to be able to do this. So look, don't worry, we've all been there. One of the things that I really struggled with when I first started was plucking the strings with consistency so that I wasn't just like twanging one big note while the rest of them didn't sound like anything. And that's just a thing. Like, remember when you started strumming the ukulele and you would come home with your wee rock blisters because you've been strumming so hard and you didn't really know how much pressure to use. And so it's exactly the same with finger picking. It's just about reacquainting yourself with the strings in a different way. So it's about learning the spacing in between the strings, learning, you know, what happens if you pluck them in what order or whatever. So that is one example of a technique that you can try and apply it to different songs, and that's just to give you an idea of a couple of songs that plucking pattern will work for, but it'll work for loads of other ones as well. The other thing I would say very quickly before we move on from that time signature, and like I say, I'm no expert in time signatures. I understand music from how I feel it as opposed to what I know about it academically. So don't be afraid, particularly if you're doing cover songs, don't be afraid to try a cover song and change the time signature of it, okay? So when you're playing your ukulele, if it feels like, I don't know how I'm going to get the words all in there, or I don't know, like, I need to sing that a lot slower, I'm going to turn that into, you know, like a power ballad or something, change the time signature. You know, you decide how many counts there are to a bar. You decide how many strums, how many plucks, how many whatever. It's your original version of that song, okay? If people want records, they can go and stick a record on. If you love a song enough to invest some time into practicing it, feel free to edit it as you like, okay? So that's just a wee bit about time signatures and finger picking. So we're going to go on now to another one, and it's 4/4 timing, and it's the one that I would use most often. It's the one my brain and my hand are most familiar with. So we'll get the song up in a wee second, but what I want to show you first is just what I'm doing. So quite similar to the last one, we're starting off in this position here. So thumb on the third. Yeah, thumb on the third, middle finger on the first, and you're going to pluck them one after another. Now, because this is a 4/4 beat, the spaces between each pluck, the duration of time between each pluck is going to be the same. So just with open strings, I'm just doing plucking with the thumb first, then the middle finger, then back up to fourth with the thumb. Oh, sugar, too much. And then the index finger on the second. So it's thumb on the third, middle finger on the first, thumb on the fourth, index finger on the second. And then you're back to thumb on the third. Okay, so do you see how you're using your thumb for every other note? Every other note. So your thumb becomes kind of like your bass drum or your metronome. It becomes your sort of the regular that you keep coming back to.
Would you just repeat that one more time, please, Róisín?
I sure will. I love how you guys are going for the green screen, out of this world, universal effect. That's so cool. So what was it? What was it I was saying? What?
Thumb on.
Okay, so the actual order of it.
Yeah.
Probably. So it's thumb on the fourth, so the one closest to your face, and then or sorry, third, the one below that, and middle finger on the first. So it's the exact same fingering as last time. It's just we're doing them separately instead of at the same time. Okay.
Thank you.
So it's thumb on the third, middle finger on the first, then thumb on the fourth, and index finger on the second. So I'm going to show you very, very slowly how that looks. I'll just pick a chord. We'll do C. Who doesn't love to play C? So how that looks when you're playing it then is funny. It's hard to do slow when you've learned it. Do you get me? Does that make sense? So I know, Ronnie, I know it's full on, isn't it? It's tough going. Ronnie I just caught him in the camera there. Ronnie's like, okay. So it is. But that's why they say music is so good for managing like cognitive function and for staving off, you know, episodes of cognitive decline, because it makes your brain communicate unilaterally. Like there's so much going on when you're working on this. Okay. So it's one more time. It's thumb on the third, middle finger on the first, thumb on the fourth, index finger on the second. So let's just do it on the C chord, and we'll just do a round of those together. So we'll do like 4 or 5 of them, but we'll just go together. So nice and slow. 1, 2, 3, and whoops. So I'm looking at this instead of in this. I'll look at this. Here we go. I'll make sure I'm in the camera now. Okay, 1, 2, 3, and so third, first, fourth, second, third, first, fourth, second, third, first, fourth, second, third, first, fourth, second. Okay, are we getting that? Can I get a thumbs up? Anybody with a thumbs down? Super. Just check the other page. Thumbs up. Love that big stretch you're having. Your name, it says Aiden, is it? Is it actually Aiden, or are you on someone else's? Okay. Nice one, you guys. Anybody really struggling? Tell me, Aiden, what was it? No? Okay. Go on. So let's do that with a song. So the song for this one is Little Old Wine Drinker Me. I know it's wild early for that, but let's have a go anyway. All right. So screen share. So I quite like this particular strumming pattern because it can add a real bounce to your songs. Yeah, I feel like it makes it a really fun, lilty way to play. And this is the picking pattern that I use whenever I'm making soundscapes to put guided meditations over the top of. So I was talking to somebody about that this morning. Page 668. Okay. Little Old Wine Drinker Me. And let's move that to the side. You don't need, because they're in here, you don't need to see the C, F, G, G7. Very straightforward song. Here we go. I'm not going to play the intro because I don't know it. I should really have a. So before we go through the whole song, let's just do the first 2 lines for speed. So see what we're going to do. So I'll call out the chords. You're just doing 1 round, 2 rounds, yeah, 1 round, change chord, back to C. And then you're staying on C. Okay, so we'll do the first 2 lines nice and slow. And hopefully you'll be starting to get the hang of it. So here we go. 1, 2, 3. I'm praying for the rain in California, so the grapes will grow and they can make more wine. So let me just check in with you there. How did that go? Is that a thumbs up if you're no? Okay, Lou, talk to me. How did it go?
I think it was because I felt like I was trying to do two things at once.
Yes.
Whereas before it was easier to do the same thing with my fingers. I was just moving my hand up slightly, and now
Totally.
doing different things.
Yeah, yeah, that's it. I mean, you could just do an R on the 3/4. You could just do an R on the chick 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 chick. But basically, I just wanted to give you like an introduction to what's possible. I don't know. There you went. There you are, Lou. Okay, so could you tilt your camera and show me what you were doing? Because that's the thing. You know, that's the other thing about learning any new skill is like you can give yourself such a hard time and you can bang your head off a wall for days and days at a time. And then someone who knows what they're doing will take a look and go, oh, yeah, no, don't do that, do this. Or, oh, that's what's tripping you up, or whatever. So don't ever be afraid to play in front of more accomplished musicians or apply that to any other skill that you're trying to learn, because the quickest way to learn something is to get feedback from someone who's already learned it. Okay, so Lou, let's see what you're doing.
Sure. Okay.
No pressure, hey.
I think it was also that it's remembering to change the chords at the right time.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, I know I'm doing it the wrong way around.
Ah, okay. So I'm really glad you said that, okay? So here's a couple of things that I'll mention. I'm doing it the wrong way round is completely redundant. There is no right or wrong way. There's no right or wrong order. Yes, no, I understand what you're saying totally, and you're right. You're not doing it the way I described it. But the information that I want to relay to you is if there is a more natural pattern for you, then you go with that, okay? Because once you understand the pattern intrinsically and inherently, once you actually know how to do it, you can learn the other ones quicker, okay? So if there's one that works for you already, like instantaneously, don't disregard that in a bid to try and learn something else that's pretty comparable. It's the same thing. Do you get me? Mine, yeah. I spent ages learning that one, starting on the 3rd string, and then I put a low G on my uke, which completely changed the sound of that rhythm that I had learnt. But it doesn't matter, you know, it was just different to my ear because that's how I was used to hearing it, but it doesn't matter. So the other thing I would say is don't be afraid to mix these all up. So like you might find that you like the way it picks each separate note, but you really like the double note from the first one we did. So you might meld the two. And that's what I'm saying. I'm not teaching you like a playbook that these are the only ones you can do or whatever. What I'm teaching you is how I stumbled my way through it so that you can find something that fits you best to get started. All right. So thank you for sharing that, Lou, because actually as you were talking, loads of people were nodding their head in agreement. So you weren't on your own there, all right?
Thanks.
So let's go through that song. Is there anybody else that's really struggling or wants to have a chat about it? No, looking pretty solid here. Okay, awesome. So let's go through that song again. We'll not go any faster than that. We'll just keep it a real mellow, slow jam. Here we are. And do you see here where it gives you the 2 wee star asterisks, and they usually are single strums. So I quite like to use the, you know, to pluck the 2 strings at the same time for something like that, for a wee bit of variety. So like I say, don't be holding too rigidly to what you think it should sound like. Just let your fingers work out where they are in relation to the strings. Don't be too hard on yourself. Here we go, on the C. Starting on the 3rd with the thumb, if that's your wont. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. I'm praying for the rain in California, so the grapes will grow and they can make more wine. And I'm sitting in a honky in Chicago with a broken heart and a woman on my mind. even get doing the whole pattern for that bit. I asked the man behind the bar for the jukebox, and the music takes me back to Tennessee, Tennessee. When they ask who's the fool in the corner crying, I say, little old wine drinker me. I got here last week from down in Nashville, 'cause my baby left for Florida on a trip, on a trip. I said I'd get a job and just forget her. But in Chicago, broken heart is just the same. I asked the man behind the bar for the jukebox, and the music takes me back to Tennessee, Tennessee. When they ask who's the fool in the corner crying, I say, little old wine drinker me. Yes. Yeah, I love seeing all those smiley faces. All right, thank you for the clapping as well. That's very kind. Totally unnecessary, but very kind. So look, it is almost 10 to, you guys. I am actually hosting via my Zoom the hey Jeremy, we kitty with your emojis. Jeremy's my new best friend. I just met him last night in the open mic, and he's French and he's great crack. So if you catch up with Jeremy in any of the workshops, say hello. He's super kind. Yeah, so there was a couple more bits that I wanted to look at. Actually, I was going to teach something completely different, but I'll maybe just do a video tutorial for that. I was going to teach the end of Hotel California. So I figured out how to do the end, you know, the solo, the lead riff or whatever. But I wanted to look at clawhammer because I've just started learning that myself, and actually it's really satisfying, really, really satisfying. So, and actually, when I was making the notes for this, I thought maybe I should start with that because it's surprisingly straightforward, but then that's maybe because I've been doing it for a while. So we're going to look at another song. And like I say, don't be expecting to get these in like a 40-minute lesson, because that's outrageous. If you've got these in 40 minutes, I'd be so raging because I've spent years on this stuff. 596. Darling. So I'll just turn this wee screen share off a second to show you what I'm on about. And then I think if I turn that on the speaker view, maybe you can actually see me better. Oh, spotlight video. I can't believe I just found that, like 10 minutes before the lesson ends. Okay, so for clawhammer. Clawhammer is similar but different, okay? So we're back to using the thumb for the top string, but this time we're using the next 3 fingers for the next 3 strings. Now, again, when I started this, you guys, I was super clumsy with this, and actually, yes, Neve, you did just spot Jolene. We are so on that in a wee second. But this is going to be, so it's, you're plucking the top string, and then you're using the next 3 fingers to pluck the next 3 strings. Now, I have ended up, it's probably a bad habit, but I find it really helpful. So I use the thumb there, and I actually rest my fingers on the fretboard so that I know where the strings are. So I'm not resonating until I pluck them anyway. And what I found was if I angled my hands slightly so that my fingertips are already resting onto the strings, because your pluck is coming up the ways a little, so it's almost like the strings are sliding across your fingertips. Your pluck comes up. So the thumb comes down, and then the pluck comes up. Okay, so let's just do that a few times with the C chord for no reason other than it's easy. So we're just going to go pluck, up, pluck, up, pluck, up, pluck, up. And you can see very quickly how that could easily be a waltz as well. So just keep going, pluck, up, pluck, up, pluck, up. Now, whenever I first started this one, I ended up with a load of rag nails because, like I was saying right at the very start of this lesson, whenever you're constantly trying to find the strings, you're just so rough and clumsy, and, you know, it's very easy to just be sort of quite heavy-handed and just be dying to make the sound, but actually, like, you can just do it quite gently. So pluck, up, pluck, up, pluck, up, pluck, up, pluck, up, pluck, up. Okay, so when we do this next song, you can either do just one of those per chord, or if you feel like you're getting the hang of it, try two. Try two of those, 2 rounds of that pattern per chord. Now, I went through this earlier, and I think, from memory, I think it was all okay. As in, there was no crazy changing chords halfway through a rhythm or whatever. But so, I'm going to play the first couple of lines to show you what we're talking about, but it's going to go... yeah, okay, so it's that kind of... And you'll hear this, like, I won't hit every single one of those bass notes, and I won't get every single one of those triplets or whatever you want to call it. I won't get them spot on every time, but I just keep going because it's irrelevant, because it adds texture anyway. Nobody wants to hear, you know, the same sound consistently. It doesn't add any depth to the song. So how I'm going to suggest you play it is Jolene, 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 Jolene. Now, if you feel like you're getting that wee one consistently, then go ahead and do 2. So for you, it'll sound like Jolene, 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 Jolene. Okay? So I'm just giving you an idea of what it sounds like. We'll go ahead and play it all together now. Whatever version you want to do. So 1 pluck per chord or 2, whatever you want. All right? Here we go. Sit down. 1, 2, 3, and Jolene, 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 Jolene. I'm begging of you, please don't take my man. Jolene, 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 Jolene. Please don't take him just because you can. My beauty is beyond compare. Flaming locks of auburn hair, ivory skin and eyes of emerald green. Her smile is like a breath of spring. Your voice is soft like summer rain, and I cannot compete with you, Jolene. He talks about you in his sleep. There's nothing I can do to keep from crying when he calls your name, Jolene. Now I can easily understand how you can easily take my man, but you don't know what he means to me, Jolene. Jolene, 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 Jolene. I'm begging of you, please don't take my man. And if you're doing single strums, it's Jolene, 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 Jolene. Please don't take him just because you can. You could have your choice of man, I could never love again. He's the only one for me, Jolene. I had to have this talk with you. My happiness depends on you and whatever you decide to do, Jolene. George, what are you doing, mate? We're finished. Chorus, one more time. Jolene, 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 Jolene. I'm begging of you, please don't take my man. Jolene, 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 Jolene. Please don't take him just because you can. Please don't take him just because you can. Jolene. All right. Oh, thank you. Thanks, everybody.
Yeah.
So look, oh, yes, no need. Thank
Very
you.
good, very
Right,
good.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So look, we're going to finish up now. I'm going to get away so that I can let everyone into the songwriting workshop because I'm hosting it on my Zoom thing as well. But I just wanted to say thank you so much for joining in. You can find out more about me and what I do on YogaLeles on Facebook. So that's YogaLeles. And there's a .com website as well. So yeah, thanks again. Thank you so much for coming and playing, and hopefully see more of your lovely faces throughout the rest of the festival weekend. All right, take care. Thanks, you guys. Thank you so much.
Very much. Bye.
Amazing. Thank you.